everybody. In fact, this is the last session, so all of you are tired. So very briefly, I will be presenting some of our work in capacity building. Very beginning in the year 1999, when we started the telemedicine work, that time itself we realized that there is need of creating manpower. Because when I was doing the video conferencing myself, connecting to the NTs, to the ISDMs, and measuring the voltage, so that time itself I realized that I need technicians to work on this thing. So, so from there we received the concept and we applied for setting up a School of Health Informatics, and the first application was run in 2000. We could not get grant, but ultimately our own government, State of Uttar Pradesh, gave us grant to start infrastructure, academic infrastructure for capacity building, and as well as the academic infrastructure for research and development products. So before the school was established in 2003, I mean the first grant came for the school. From 1999 to 2003, we were involved in training the technical staff that were deployed for the projects. And from that day onwards, we understood that there is need for healthcare IT ICT professionals when even telemedicine was not gone in the country. So it is not only telemedicine, but all healthcare IT segment, be it electronic medical record, be it data entry in hospitals. What is currently happening is you hire a person with diploma or some kind of equivalent literacy in IT, and we tell them that we enter the health data. And those health data that they enter, the heart is written in different spelling and the kidney is written in different spelling. So there are several issues that we realized that if you take general category professionals who are not familiar with the language or domain expertise, little bit of domain expertise, there's a problem. It is equivalent to the call centers being managed by paramedical workers as compared to the non-health domain people in different countries. So what we thought of creating professionals addressing the issues of taking care of the electromedical record. They are the ideas in 2000 and managing the hospital. So when we started our HIS way back in 1998, it is the first public sector hospital to introduce HIS, which was developed in-house. So that time itself we realized that there is a tremendous kind of capacity requirement for manning a big hospital of 1,000 beds to manage 14 module HIS systems. So not only it is the hospital environment, it is also public health management. As you know, that many of those public health projects now they are heavily governed by the International Development Agency, who works everything online, and they like to monitor their projects sitting in the World Bank headquarters in Washington. So in those kind of environment, you need that kind of professionals. Then comes the telehealth category, where you need, we have been speaking about that thing, the rural areas, whether you want to capture some of this health data or you want to deliver the healthcare, we need healthcare professionals. Then of course the e-health governance, we are talking about e-governance in all sectors, why not health? So there also you need professionals. Some of the areas we are not really looking at now, but they are very, very relevant. You know what is happening is disease surveillance. It is just like doing a remote monitoring of the individual. You also need to monitor the community or monitor the environment to take care of those disaster, health disasters. We have many of those public health disasters, as you know very well, dengue, chikungunya, malaria, and so on and so forth. Then another segment is, which is outside the health care sector, is education. In medical education, you require manpower who needs to set up a video conference system. You have enterprise video conference system, you need to be scheduling, and so on technology there with high-end products coming up. And currently we have those new technologies for the real-time casting and webcasting, storage and multimedia servers for delivering content. All these things requires now very, very heavily kind of technology-dependent manpower. So looking at these ecosystems, so what we thought that at least to train people who are engaged in different projects. So you have taken a telemedicine projects or some of HIS projects. So at least train those people and making a model. Can they be also applied to different kind of environment? We have several projects going on in our center. So whether it is funded from NRHM or from the NKN or the SAP network, Kapana network. So all our manpower in our center, telemedicine center, are project based. We do not have any manpower who are permanent. they are recruited and they are trained as per the specific applications. Unfortunately, when you're talking of e-health, and of course there is no e-health policy, but fortunately in the last couple of years, the government is thinking about making some policy issues on e-health, but nowhere this capacity building was in the picture in their terms of reference. But you need to really tell the people who are concerned with policy making that this issue needs to be addressed. So the aim of this presentation is to share our vision, our institute vision of how the need of healthcare IT manpower and what we are doing about that. If you have some different kinds of model, please tell us. Or if you think that our model you would like to take, so would like to share our model. The total kind of design of the curriculum and everything is totally keeping in context to the developing countries environment. And it is a concept. As you know that course and curriculum in this new area, especially in developing country context, needs many years of kind of practice to make it a perfect one. So we have traveled over 10 years now, and I'll share with you those infrastructure of developed, what kind of programs we are carrying out, and some of the audit of those programs. So our vision to develop a trained manpower in the field of telemedicine and e-health in large, that is we call it capacity building in the health ICT sector, developing world-class infrastructure to make it a national resource center for health informatics, and also carry out some of the operational research in the field of telemedicine and e-health. So we thought of this concept in this kind of leveling, that the daily operating of the money, in particular large telemedicine center or health activities, you need people at the grassroots level just to make the system on and basic work, daily operation of the systems. So for that, different category of entry criteria has been kept, and there is some problem related to the problem rectifications. So little bit higher entry criteria, of course they need to be trained, but entry criteria is different. You can see here from this level of leveling of manpower entry criteria. Then the training structures, we have customized training program. We have short-term, mid-term and long-term programs, and also we have curriculum-based training programs. Most of the long-term programs are curriculum-based training program. Currently we have 5 disciplines, telemedicine, HIS, public health informatics, nursing informatics, and digital medical library are 1-year diploma courses, and entry criteria is different. All these things are there in our website, our School of Telemedicine and Biomedical Informatics, stbmi.ac.in. So there are 2-year degree course under development. We are needing full-time technology background professionals as a faculty. As you know that the state government creating new faculty positions takes many years. So that's the reason we are only handling the 1-year course, which can handle in addition to our medical work. So once you get those the manpower, so we are adjunct faculty, and the faculty from technology background who looks after 24 hours. Then we can launch the master's program and PhD and postdoctoral programs. So over last 10 years, what I've been doing actually, that in initial phase we trained our all the project manpower specific to the objective of the project. As you know, project management itself, besides technology management, process management, so many things are there. The project life cycle is taken care of by these people. Then we trained nodal officers of different telemedicine centers where we have been partnered with. Then we trained in-service laboratory technicians and computer operators from government institutions who are sponsored, and also the overseas requirements from WHO or any other sponsored training from different countries, and the curriculum-based diploma courses. The School of Telemedicine functioned from year 2006 in the new building, and the full-fledged School of Telemedicine and Biomedical Informatics building was completed, and all activities shifted to new premises from the older one, and the process to start new curriculum-based training initiated. As you know that we are a medical university, we have to pass through several kind of legal requirements, and that also we have, I'll just tell you how we have gone through that. This is our School of Telemedicine in the 4 level, 25,000 square feet, fully covered, air conditioned, fully networked, not only in the building itself, also to any global centers you can talk of. Process to start new course, our university pattern, let me share with you. In the year 2007, a board of studies was constituted. Any department start new courses, they have to go through the board of studies. They constitute board of studies where experts like Dr. Ganpati or any of you who are experts in industry also, they can be kept as experts. So 2 experts, and there is a group of faculty from the institute, so that becomes the board of studies. That's the first starting point for starting academic courses. And after the board of studies recommendation, they are supposed to recommend the curriculum, the course structures, faculty for examiners, etc. Then this goes to the academic board, and the academic board goes to the governing board and the institute board, and then will get approved. This process itself takes many years. So we have gone through all those phases, and now the recommendation was submitted to the 42nd Academic Board. Then it was approved by the governing board, and now we are having 5 diploma courses. And there are some system of reservation in the seats, and all those things have been taken care of. And we then called for a national committee chaired by Professor Dhande from IIT Kanpur director to again examine more kind of in-depth to technological perspective, and with the national committee of experts coming in and examining the cost structure, etc., developed by the board of studies. And then it has gone to different committees, and last was governing body institute. And the curriculum was now approved by the governing body, and we are a medical university autonomous, so we can give our own degrees. And the first batch was taken in the 9 and 10, and subsequently subsequent batches have been taken. As you see that number of candidates are very less, because the total number of candidates are 10 in each stream, out of which 5 is reserved and 5 is open. And we are very strict in our examination pattern on national examinations. So naturally these courses are not so popular now, so we don't find many examinations. So I'll go very quickly, the time is shortage. So some of these clippings I have just taken that to show you that what kind of profile that we have from the trainees. So as you know, these are sponsored by the state government. So here, state government sponsored from 25 hospitals, 1 doctor, 1 technician. So you can find different state governments we have taken care of. And you can see here from Korea, WHO sponsored candidates, and more of trainings are hands-on. Because they are all in service people. So this project is deployed in Korea. They come and they take hands-on training, and they are the TOTs. They are the trainers, and they go back and train. So like just before me, Mr. Chandrababu was telling about training millions. So we have programs like that. We train the trainers, they go back and train people under the NRHM project. So that kind of systems are there. And you can see here, they are all by hands-on training. These are the profile of trainees that are in the last 10 years, 469 people. And to conclude, I feel that many of these academic medical institutions should start creating these new disciplines. This is the time I think we should think of, because academic institutes starting these programs gives more weightage to these things. And better, I have nothing criticism against starting in technological environment. Better to start in the medical environment, because they see the applications there. You can have a collaboration. If a technical institute is starting, then let them have collaboration with a hospital. The real hands-on training is most important. There are many online training programs. I am very critical about that, but this requires to be handled by technicians for the patient. They should expose to that kind of environment. They are beautiful campus with sound power. They are all invited to have a look at it. Thank you very much for your attendance.